Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tally's Movie Reviews. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is a spectacular movie. There's quite a few things I like about it. So, I don't even know where to start. So, I guess I would say the whole beginning of the movie, it talks about Shang-Chi's father. And in case you don't know who he is, he's called the Mandarin, which in the movie they kind of retcon that a little bit. He's not really called the Mandarin, but for comic book's sake, he is called the Mandarin. And he is this warlord who's lived over 1,000 years, and he gets these rings, and he becomes immortal. And in this movie, he's looking for a hidden village because he thinks that there's a secret hidden there. And while he's looking for this hidden village, he finds this woman who is guarding a passage, and he tries to fight her to get into this passage, and it's revealed that he starts falling for her. They kind of have like this little romantic story, and this is executed brilliantly. It is, you fall for this woman instantly, and her character development and what she does for her son Shang-Chi and her daughter, she's perfect. And basically Shang-Chi's father falls for her, and he changes his ways and takes off the rings and decides that he doesn't want to be a warlord anymore, and he wants to live a mortal life for this woman. And a tragedy strikes where she dies. Later on in the movie, she dies. And he loses his way and reverts back to his old ways, being a ruthless man. And his son wants nothing to do with him, so he runs away to start his own life. And his daughter does the same. And that's where it picks up, where Shang-Chi is now a full-grown adult living in Chicago, has his friend Katie, who is played by Awkwafina, which she annoyed me the first time I watched the movie, and I watched it again the other day, and I actually was like, okay, you know, she's pretty funny in the film. I really like her. I still think to this day that they were just trying to find things for her to do in the third act, but they played it off really well. So yeah, he's got his good friend, Katie, and they're on their way to work one day, and he starts getting attacked by these assassins, which were sent by his father. They were after this little medallion that Shang-Chi's mother left him. And after that fight, the whole scene was almost like a scene out of Speed, you know, with, I think it was Keanu Reeves, and I can't remember the woman's name, but anyway, basically the bus has to stay above like 55 miles an hour or it blows up. That's kind of like what this scene was. You know, the brakes get cut, and Awkwafina has to drive the bus while he's taking on like 12 assassins. So after he kicks all their butts and they get off the bus, she's like, what the hell was that? And he basically, you know, fills her in on everything. He's like, listen, my name isn't Sean, it's actually Shang-Chi, and she makes fun of him for that, you know. Oh, why do you go on the run? You know, you change your name from Shang to Shun. It doesn't make any sense, you know, no wonder your dad found you. So that was actually, he fills her in. And the thing that I love about this movie is the directing. So every time they need to explain something, they flash back to when he's a child. And you already know the full story. But every time it flashes back to his childhood, there's actually a piece of that story that he didn't actually fill her in on. It just keeps getting revealed more and more on what actually happened to him as a child. And the directing is just fantastic, I think, in that aspect. And something else I really like about this movie is I thought it was about 25% subtitles. About 25% of this movie is all subtitle. And it really keeps you in the movie. You really, I've been saying this forever. It's almost like you take the movie Speed and the movie Be My Maybe, which is an Asian romantic comedy, and you take Crouching Tiger, and that's what you get in this movie. It is like three combinations of these movies that I've seen, and it reminded me of all three of those. And it's very, very strange mixture. So anyway, after he fills her in, he knows that they came for his medallion, and or the pendant, I guess is what they call it. They came for it, and he knows his sister has one too. So he goes looking for his sister, and it is revealed that she runs this like underground arena fighting ring, which we are reintroduced to a character named Wong, who is in Doctor Strange, and he was in Endgame, and he was in Infinity War. And Wong is fighting the Abomination inside this ring, which I thought was great. And while they're fighting, as soon as the fight ends, they go back to their back room and they're resting up. And Wong's like, he's like, man, you should have thrown your punches more. We need to practice on that more. Wong is rigging these fights to make money, which I thought was hilarious. And Abomination too. And I almost want to say in the background, when he's going through like the portal, it looks like he's been pulling Abomination out of the raft. And if you guys don't know what the raft is, it's basically this underground prison where a few Avengers were imprisoned for a few years until Captain America came in and broke them out. And it looks like that he's taken Abomination back to the raft. So from time to time, he takes him out of the raft, for some fun fighting, and then he puts him back in prison again or something. I don't know. So I'm interested to see if Abomination comes back again. That would be quite cool. So in this, he also is revealed that he is fighting his sister at the last second, and Wong gets entered into this fight. He fights his sister. They have a little conversation. Then the next thing you know, they are ambushed by their father's assassins who show up. And this whole fight scene and music scene is great. Shang-Chi and Katie are trying to escape from this tower, and they break the glass, and they go on this building scaffolding on the side of the building, and they're trying to escape, and the assassins are coming after them. It is very well choreographed, and I think this is the best scene for the music too. The music was outstanding. And then later on in this fight, his sister joins in, and him and his sister are just kicking all these assassins' butts. And it's just so great. And then this one assassin shows up who was in the flashback earlier in the beginning of the movie. It was the assassin that trained Shang-Chi. And he takes his sister's pendant and starts running away. And Shang-Chi starts chasing after him. Now, this guy in all the flashbacks just beats the crap out of Shang-Chi. Like, he's actually emotionally scarred from this guy beating him up. So before the assassin escapes, Shang-Chi catches up to him, and then they have this awesome fight, like with knives, like catching knives in the air. This whole movie, very well choreographed. The entire movie, and they really lay out the scene too. They do a great job at like zooming out and letting you know the environment, and then when they're fighting, you already know what's around them. And they just use that to their fight scenes, and it's very well done. Anyway, so while he's fighting this assassin, he's having flashbacks of how badly this person's like beating the crap out of him. And Shang-Chi gets the knife, and he is going to kill him. Like, I love this scene because he wasn't holding back. He was going to kill this assassin until his father stepped in and stopped him. His father is revealed to be there. He was not expecting his father to be there. His father steps in and stops him. And he says to him, I told my men they wouldn't be able to kill you even if they tried. I'm glad I was right. And I'm just thinking during this scene, he was about to kill that guy, without a doubt. And I love that. Shang-Chi is a trained assassin. And this guy did him wrong in the past, and he wanted to kill him for it. Very well executed. And then they go back to their, his dad says, it's time to take you home. And basically him and his sister don't argue at all because they're just like, we're not going to mess with this guy because we know what our father can do. Like, he's a very dangerous man. So it takes him back to his hideout. He explains to them that their mother actually isn't dead, and he knows a way on how to find her back in her homeland, and they just need to get together and team up and find the secret path there. And that's what the medallions are for, or the pendants. They actually show a secret pathway into the homeland. But then it is revealed that he says to them, if they do not return your mother to me, then I'm going to kill them all. Now, Shang-Chi and his sister are both in agreement, like, you can't do this because mom's already dead. Mom's gone, Dad. And he will not listen. He believes that his wife is back in her homeland and he needs to rescue her. He says that there is a voice, clear as day. He knows her voice and she's telling him that he needs to come rescue her. He does not like what they have to say, so he imprisons them. And while they're in prison there's this man making a terrible, terrible noise. And then they walk in the back of the room, and there's one and only Trevor. He's an actor. The Mandarin is very upset with him, and he wanted to kill him until he realized how comedic he was. So he keeps him around as a gesture, which I think is hilarious. And Trevor, they put just enough Trevor in this movie where it's not overdone. But man, the scenes where I think he's probably got a total of maybe 4 or 5 minutes of screen time. Not very much, but he is so funny when he is on screen. He tells this story about how he became an actor because of the movie Planet of the Apes, and if they could make those monkeys act while riding a horse, maybe he could be an actor himself. Just the way he delivered those lines was hilarious to me. Oh my gosh, Trevor's so funny. And then there's this little creature that shows up while they're in prison. They're like, what is that? It is this really hideous, two-sided, butt-faced bear with wings. It is really weird looking. I'll show you guys a picture up here if I can find it online. And Trevor looks at them and he's like, "Oh, you can see Morris too. Thank goodness. I thought I was crazy." And this creature looks like something out of somebody's twisted imagination. It is so funny. And this creature is what leads Shang-Chi and his sister back to their mother's homeland so they can warn her people about his father coming. So they quickly get there, and we are introduced to Michelle Yeoh. Oh man, I can't remember her name now. She's a famous Asian actress. I think that was her name, Michelle Yeoh. I could be wrong. And she is basically their aunt is what she is, and explains to them about what is really hidden behind this gate that their father thinks is coming. It's basically like these soul eaters, and a dragon centuries ago fought with the humans and drove them back and imprisoned these soul eaters. And if they escape, they can make it into 1,000 realms and eat everyone's souls. And that's basically the gist of the story. And then his father shows up, stirs up trouble, tries breaking into the wall, yada yada yada. There's nothing really to explain after that. It's the fight choreography. The fight scenes are great. Shang-Chi's character development just grows in that scene. He learns how to not fight aggressive and actually fight like his mother, because his mother, Michelle Yeoh's character, he goes to her and he's like, "My mother told me a story on how she defeated my father with the rings. Teach me how to do it." And she shows him this. It's basically she says the typical Asian movie things. It's like, you must know yourself before you can fight. And that's basically how he learns how to fight. And he still didn't completely accept himself until he was almost killed by his father. He was almost drowned. And then he has a flashback to his mother and something his mother said to him years ago that just stuck with him. And then he was rescued by this dragon in the water. And just everything about this movie just screams like typical Asian foreign movies. Oh, it's so great. I really love this movie. And he fights his dad, and before his dad dies, he saves him from getting killed by this soul eater. and they just have this amazing scene where they just look at each other and they have like this understanding and they know that they love each other. The father, just so much is great about this. So now that I've already given you the synopsis about the whole movie, I'm just going to go ahead and run down everything I loved about this movie. Like I said, the assassin that trains Shang-Chi, great story. And they make it seem like he's going to be more than he actually is. So they keep like reintroducing this character over and over again. So you think that like he's going to have a big part at the end of the movie, or it's going to be like a character reveal. Nope. He gets eaten by a Soul Eater during a fight. He's like fighting against Michelle Yeoh, and then he gets picked up by a Soul Eater and he dies. So he was good for showing you what Shang-Chi was as a person. He was there basically to set up and train him, and then to have Shang-Chi almost kill him. And he did not stop. He was going to kill him, which I think was great. Great, because he is an assassin. That's all he knows. And he was going to kill this man who hurt him as a child. Shang-Chi's father, the character development for him. The very beginning of the movie, you fall in love with him and his wife. Shang-Chi doesn't even come in till like 10 minutes of the movie. So you already fall in love with his father and his mother, and then Shang-Chi. And Trevor coming back was great. Like I said, you know, he only had like 5 minutes of screen time, but he was amazing in this. He really he stole the show in a couple of scenes. The directing, I already mentioned that. The directing was great. I already said how Awkwafina had nothing really to do. She was there as a good friend in the beginning. She was there to just kind of explain the story. Like he was there. She was basically there for narration purposes, I feel like, where he would tell her about his family and his history and his mother. And then the end of the movie, they really didn't have anything for her to do. So they were like, oh, how about she thinks like she doesn't really speak very good Chinese, and she gets mistaken, like she thinks she's just handing out bows, but then she gets mistaken to be like, oh no, you're coming to the range and you're going to shoot, and then you're going to be like a plot point later on. So they go with that. So she didn't really have much to do with that. What else do we have here? Directing. Like I said, you know, the movie's like a mix between Speed and Crouching Tiger and Definitely Maybe. Or not Definitely Maybe, sorry. Be My Maybe. And another thing I liked, like I said, the very high use of subtitles. It really keeps you immersed in this world. It's the thing I love about Marvel movies is the fact that they're able to take all these styles of movies, and even when they come together in like an Avenger movie, they blend perfectly. But when they do their standalone movies, they have their own style, and I love that about that movie. Also, another thing I loved about it too, the aftermath of the final battle. You know, Shang-Chi is done, and he gets back to the village after he helps defeat one of the main Soul Eater, and he's just looking around, and he's so upset about everyone that's died. You normally these movies just kind of like, oh, the characters don't even think about it. Nothing really happens. So those are my great quick thoughts on that. And then you have the end credit scene. Juan comes in. You know, they start talking about. He brings them to analyze these rings that his dad gave him, and they're actually sending off a beacon. So Shang-Chi is going to be a major player, it seems like, in the MCU. Like, whatever's going to happen next, I feel like he's going to be like the center of it. And I'm actually really excited. I didn't have a lot of expectation for Shang-Chi. I knew I wanted to see it, but I was not prepared for how good this movie was. And I'm really excited for the Eternals too. Like that was the movie I've been excited for all year. And not Spider-Man. I've been excited for Spider-Man, but for some reason, Kevin Feige has talked about how much he loves Eternals, and he didn't even talk about Spider-Man. He hasn't talked about Shang-Chi, and he hasn't talked about Black Widow. But all he talks about is this Eternals movie coming up. So this thing must be pretty great, because this is all he talks about. And Shang-Chi was a magnificent movie. This should be $1 billion movie, and I just checked out the box office this morning, and it is close to... it's like $80 million or something like that worldwide. So anyway, that is my quick thoughts on this. I love this movie. It was nice and different. It was something different from Marvel, and that's what I want. I just need something different. Anyway, this is Tally Movie Reviews. Thank you all for watching. I know I kind of just gave you a rundown of the whole synopsis real quick, and that's really all I did, but this movie is spectacular, and it's all executed well. I hope to see you guys in the next review. I'm going to try and go see Free Guy. I might try and go see that tonight. We'll find out, and I'll get a quick review on that. Yeah, everyone enjoy your holiday weekend. Thanks. Bye.